Hello. I know this is not my normal location for shooting a video, but while I was working on another project, I thought it would be good to shoot a little cracks in the cloisters / instructional video for my freshmen, but also for some members, for example, of our larger school community. Because I have found through my years here that sometimes people are confused as to how major decisions or how projects are decided here at Delbarton School and at St. Mary's Abbey. So I thought I would take a minute to talk about who has control of the marbles and whose hands are the marbles. You'll see in a minute, as I will post a screenshot somewhere here, or maybe over my face, somewhere, of what I'm talking about. And to be clear, what I'm going to discuss is going to be general, so that people who find this can hopefully understand how monasteries, particularly ones which have a school or things like that, decide things, but also a little specific at times for our community. The community I'm a member of, St. Mary's Abbey, is incorporated under one corporate structure with the Order of St. Benedict of New Jersey, which also operates, in addition to the Abbey, Delbarton School. We are a single corporation, which is important to know here. We are a member of the American Cassinese Congregation of Benedictines, German heritage congregation, but founded here in America by Boniface Wimmer in the 1800s. So, that said, how are things decided? Well, the base on how things are to be decided in the monastery, and as we say in the school as well, can be found in chapter 3 of the Rule of St. Benedict. This is RB 1980, Timothy Frey's translation, which he finished on his deathbed. But it's a wonderful translation and commentary, and it's one of the gold standards. Chapter 3, he writes, Benedict, that is, writes, and Frey translates from the Latin. As often as anything important is to be done in the monastery, the abbot shall call the whole community together, and himself explain what the business is. And after hearing the advice of the brothers, let him ponder it and follow what he, meaning the abbot, judges the wiser course. The reason why we said all should be called for counsel is that the Lord often reveals what is better to the younger. The brothers, for their part, are to express their opinions with all humility, and not presume to defend their own views obstinately. The decision is rather the abbot's to make, so that, when he has determined what is more prudent, all may obey. Nevertheless, just as it is proper for the disciples to obey their master, so it is becoming for the master, on his part, to settle everything with foresight and fairness. Accordingly, in every instance, all are to follow the teachings of the rule, and no one shall rashly deviate from it. In the monastery, no one is to follow his own heart's desire, nor shall anyone presume to contend with his abbot defiantly, or outside the monastery. Should anyone presume to do so, let him be subjected to the discipline of the rule. Moreover, the abbot himself must fear God and keep the rule in everything he does. He can be sure beyond any doubt that he will give an account for all his judgments to God, the most just of judges. If less important business of the monastery is to be transacted, he shall take counsel with the seniors only. As it is written, do everything with counsel, and you will not be sorry afterwards. Sirach, chapter 32. So in this relatively long but important chapter of the rule, we have the development and the call of two important institutions in the monastery. The chapter, which is made up of all monks in final vows, and the Council of Seniors. Those at our school might know of this term, the Council of Seniors. We borrow that from the Abbey. So what is to be done here? Well, in our congregation, in our house, the abbot has the ability to decide things of his own accord, up to a one-time expenditure of $5,000 per thing. That he can just, okay. Anything above that, often up to $50,000, though I think in our house we have limited it even further to $30,000 by custom. The abbot needs to talk to the Council of Seniors, which is exactly that. It is a group of monks, 2 appointed by him, 2 elected by the community, which help give guidance. Now, there are certain things where he needs the approval to do from either the Council of Seniors, we often call it the little chapter, or the full chapter of all the capitulates. But it should be noted that at no point can the chapter or the Council of Seniors compel the abbot to do something outside very, very narrow juridical things where he might be ruled incompetent or accused of something, but God forbid that ever happen. But so for the most part, we advise, and he often needs our permission to do, but we can never force him to do something. For more important matters, budgets, large expenditures. For example, recently there was the approval for the North Field House, a more than $17 million project, which, due to the wonderful gifts of our benefactors, many who may be watching this, is already ready to go. We have the money and the funds available. So I thought, let's take a look at how that project rolled about, at least in its final stages. It's been worked on for over a decade now, but in its final stages, the plan and the proposal was taken to our Lay Board of Regents. The Lay Board of Regents is advisory. They can't compel the monks to approve anything. Now, would often be seen as very foolish not to take their advice. They're wonderful volunteers who volunteer great time and expertise to help us keep the lights on, to help us keep the school running smoothly, to keep the abbey open, to keep monks here. And without that expertise, we would often be in serious trouble. But nevertheless, they are advisory. They give us advice. That advice is then often brought either to the Council of Seniors, if it's a less important matter, or to the chapter itself. And the monks will vote and debate. They will discuss the matter following a presentation often. And after the discussion, if the discussion was fruitful and it seems like it's good to proceed, or that people have made up their mind, a resolution is read. The resolution is always a statement, something that can be voted yes or no, yea or nay, sí or nunca. Nunca is a different language than Spanish, but you get my point. In the resolution, for example, for the North Field House, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something along the lines of, the chapter of St. Mary's Abbey approves the expenditure of $17 million for the building and the construction of the North Field House facility to be done by insert company. And then we vote. And the way we vote is very archaic. If you've ever heard the term, you got blackballed. That actually comes in many ways from the monastic tradition and also from other groups that follow our method of voting, because we use the same marbles to vote on people. For example, to enter the novitiate or simple profession or final vows. We vote on people, as frats do in secret societies, often stealing our method, which is to use marbles. As hopefully you see on the screen, we literally use black, white, and yellow marbles. White means yes. You approve the resolution. You're voting in favor of the statement. Black means no. You're voting against it. You think it's a bad idea, or you think he's a bad fit for the community, if it's a person. Yellow is a private abstention, saying, I have no intention to vote. I don't want to vote. I don't care, or I don't know enough, or I just don't feel comfortable voting. Yellow is a no, but not a no formally. I refuse to vote. Then if there's enough votes, so to vote, for a vote to count, a quorum, of at least 50%, I think it's 50% plus 1, of the monks that can vote need to vote. Now, those that can vote are the ones present at the meeting. And to have the meeting count for a vote, you need 50% of the monks present to have the meeting. So in a way, just over a quarter of the community needs to approve something if you're on the very minimum. But that's very rare, because if there's a vote, often you have to be there. Like the abbot and the prior will hunt you down. You have to be there if you're medically fit. So we vote. And if there's more white than black, the motion carries. And for example, we get a new field house, or we spend the money for one. We'll get one here probably in about 18 months to 2 years from the recording of this video. But we vote, and we will vote, as I said, with marbles. One goes in your right hand. My right, I think the camera flipped me, but this is my right. The other two, so if I'm voting yes, the white, black, and yellow would be in the opposite hand. Tellers come around with a box. Put your hands in the box and nobody can see what you have in your hands, and you just open and they fall through into a little drawer. And then at least 2 monks count the marbles, and we make sure that the vote was valid, that the right number of people put marbles in as got marbles, and that nobody voted twice in the vote pile rather than the discard pile. But we literally vote with marbles. It's a wonderful way to keep things secret. Because unless you're going to do like touch DNA on stuff, which wouldn't work anyway because we reuse the marbles, there's no way to tell. So you don't know if somebody voted yes or no or abstained. You can often guess based on the questions they asked in the meeting, but there's no way to know for sure. In this way, we can help preserve peace in the community, hopefully. So that if a tense vote happens and barely passes or barely fails, you don't know who to be angry at, which is helpful. Because as much as we try to be perfect, as much as we try to be great Christians and saints, all the monks are human. We have our flaws, we have our quirks, and we sometimes get hurt. So by voting anonymously, it allows us to vote our conscience, as we are called to do, as the rule tells us to do. We are told to vote wisely. Now, as I said, we can't compel the abbot to do something. There are many things, like spending millions of dollars, where he needs our approval to do it. But just because we say yay doesn't mean it's going to happen. And if we say no, it's often not a no, but a not yet. And that has happened. I've seen that happen a few times, where we've turned something down to then revisit it and tweak it in a way that was good. But nevertheless, when all is said and done, the people that literally vote are us crazy little guys in the black robes. We're the ones who have to approve the budget every year. We're the ones who approve the raising or lowering or static tuition. Don't get your hopes up. It's probably going to go up again. It's nature of the beast. But the monks are the ones who decide that. We literally vote. We say yay or nay. Now, we often listen, as I said, to the advice of all our helpers, our lay board of regents, our teachers, our staff, our lawyers. But sometimes we don't. Nothing is a guarantee. Nothing is assured. We just have to trust in the Holy Spirit, that the community does what it needs to do, and that what is right for the church, and for our monastery, and for our school. But I thought this would be helpful for you to understand how the monks, in a way, run the show, and how we go about approving things that are asked of us, whether it's the field house, or St. Benedict's Hall, or anything else. Maybe one day we'll get a parking lot big enough to hold all your cars, though I doubt it. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. God bless.